The universe says you're finished with work. Congratulations. My beloved soul. Wait, this is not a coincidence. If these words have found you right now, in this exact moment, it means something hidden has been waiting for you to see it. Take a breath, feel that quiet pull in your heart. That is not imagination. That is alignment. There is something the universe has been holding back, not to deny you, but to prepare you. And today, right now, it is being revealed. You've been carrying a weight no one truly understands. The silent effort, the unseen struggles, the moments where you questioned if anything would ever shift. But what if I told you, those moments were not delays? They were divine positioning. Every setback, every pause, every feeling of, why is this happening to me, was quietly shaping the exact doorway you are standing in front of now. And here is the truth that was hidden from you until this very second. The universe says you're finished with work. Congratulations. Read that again, not just with your eyes, but with your spirit. This doesn't just mean physical work. It means the exhausting cycles, the draining patterns, the emotional labor you've been unknowingly repeating. The universe is gently saying, you have done enough. You have proven your strength. You have earned your transition. Something is closing, but not in loss. In completion. There is a sacred shift happening within you. You may feel it as restlessness, or even confusion. But that feeling is not chaos, it is transformation. The old version of you is dissolving, making space for something lighter, freer, and more aligned with your true essence. You were never meant to stay stuck in survival. You were meant to rise into peace. This message found you because you are ready to release what no longer belongs to your path. The universe is not taking something away, it is freeing you from what has already served its purpose. Trust this moment. Trust yourself. There is something beautiful unfolding behind the scenes, something you cannot fully see yet. But you can feel it, can't you? That quiet sense that something is about to change, that something bigger is guiding you now. You are not lost. You are being redirected. And as you step into this new phase, remember, you are supported, you are chosen, and you are exactly where you are meant to be. If this message resonated with your soul, don't ignore it. Stay with this energy. Watch this video till the very end, because there is more clarity waiting for you. And if your heart felt even a small spark of truth, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe, so this message can reach others who are also standing at the edge of their transformation. Your journey is not ending, it is finally beginning. Did you know there's a possible image of your real soulmate that you can look at right now? It might be someone you know or someone you haven't met yet. It's amazing how accurate these have been. You have to see the photo to see what I mean. Click the link in the description to get your soulmate sketch. The universe whispers before it speaks. And today, it is no longer whispering. It has called your name, not once, not twice, but across the silent corridors of time itself. You may have felt it as a subtle shift, a strange stillness, or an unexplainable pause in the rhythm of your life. That pause was not emptiness. It was preparation. And now, I speak. You have walked through seasons that tested the very fabric of your spirit. You carried responsibilities that were never meant to be permanent, only necessary. You believed the effort would never end, that the climb had no summit, that the weight you bore was simply your fate. But hear this clearly, nothing you have endured was without design. Every early morning, every late night, every moment you doubted whether you could continue, those were not signs of struggle alone. They were signals of transformation. You were being shaped, refined, and positioned for something far beyond what your eyes could see. And now, the turning point has arrived. The universe says, you are finished with that chapter of work. Not because you failed, but because you completed what was required of your soul. There is a difference. Many confuse exhaustion with completion. But what you are experiencing now is not mere tiredness, it is a deep, quiet knowing. A sense that the path you were on has reached its natural end, even if the world around you has not yet caught up to that truth. This is the moment where fear often disguises itself as logic. What will I do next? Am I really ready? What if I'm letting go too soon? But understand this, when the universe closes a cycle, it does not ask for your permission, it asks for your trust. You were never meant to stay where you began. The work you have been doing was never your final destination. It was a bridge. A sacred bridge, yes, but still a bridge. And now, you stand at the other side, holding lessons, strength, and wisdom that could not have been gained any other way. Do not look back at the bridge with longing. Look forward with awareness. Because what comes next does not require the same kind of labor. It requires alignment. There is a subtle but powerful shift happening within you. You may notice that what once motivated you no longer holds the same energy. The urgency fades. The pressure dissolves. Even the goals that once defined you begin to feel distant, like echoes from another life. This is not loss. This is evolution. The universe is not taking something away from you, it is releasing you from what you no longer need to carry. You have proven your dedication. You have demonstrated your resilience. You have shown that you can endure, adapt, and rise. That phase of your journey is complete. Now comes a different kind of calling. A quieter one. A deeper one. One that does not shout for attention but gently pulls you toward it, like gravity you cannot escape. You may not fully understand it yet. That is intentional. Mystery is not confusion, it is invitation. The next chapter is not meant to be forced. It is meant to be discovered. And discovery requires space, space that only becomes available when you release what you have outgrown. So when the universe says, "You are finished with work," it is not declaring the end of your purpose. It is declaring the end of struggle as your primary teacher. From here forward, your path begins to change in texture. Effort transforms into flow. Chasing transforms into attracting. Proving transforms into being. This is why the transition feels unfamiliar. You have been conditioned to equate worth with effort, to measure progress through struggle. But what lies ahead operates on a different frequency, one where your presence holds more power than your pressure. You are not being asked to do more. You are being asked to become more aware. Notice the doors that no longer open no matter how hard you push. Notice the opportunities that quietly drift away without resistance. These are not rejections. They are redirections. The universe is clearing space with precision, removing what no longer aligns so that what truly belongs to you can arrive without interference. And yes, there may be moments of uncertainty. There may be silence where you expected answers. There may be pauses that feel longer than you are comfortable with. But within those pauses, something sacred is unfolding. You are being recalibrated. Your energy, your focus, your inner compass, all of it is being adjusted to match a reality that is already forming around you, even if you cannot yet see it fully. Trust does not come from seeing the entire path. Trust comes from recognizing the voice that guides you. And that voice has been with you all along. It was there when you kept going despite doubt. It was there when you chose courage over comfort. It was there when you believed, even slightly, that something greater was possible for you. That same voice is speaking now, louder than ever. Release the old work. You are ready. Ready for what? Not for another cycle of exhaustion. Not for another test of endurance. But for a new way of living, one where your energy is not constantly spent, but consciously directed. One where you no longer have to fight for your place, because your presence naturally creates it. One where you understand that your value was never tied to how much you could carry, but to who you are when you are fully aligned with your truth. This is why the ending feels so significant. Because it is not just the end of tasks or responsibilities. It is the end of an identity. The version of you who believed they had to struggle endlessly to deserve peace, that version is being released. And in its place, something far more powerful is emerging. You. Not the you shaped by expectation. Not the you defined by survival. But the you that exists beyond all of that. There is a stillness waiting for you, a stillness that is not emptiness, but fullness without noise. A state where clarity replaces confusion, and direction arises naturally rather than being forced. But to enter that space, you must let go. Not gradually. Not partially. Completely. Because the next chapter cannot begin while you are still holding on to the last one. The universe does not operate in half measures. When it says you are finished, it means the lesson has been learned, the purpose has been fulfilled, and the energy has already begun to move elsewhere. Your only task now is to follow. Follow the quiet pull. Follow the subtle signs. Follow the feeling that something within you is shifting, even if you cannot yet explain it. You are not losing your path. You are stepping onto a higher one. And as you stand at this threshold, know this. Nothing that truly belongs to you will be lost in this transition. Nothing that is meant for you will require you to go back to what you have outgrown. And nothing in your future will demand the same version of you that existed in your past. You are being invited into something greater, not louder, not heavier, but deeper. And this invitation is not extended to everyone. It is extended to those who have completed their cycle. Those who have endured enough to understand that life is not meant to be an endless struggle, but a continuous unfolding. You are one of them. So when you feel the urge to hold on, to return, to question whether this ending is real, pause. Listen again. The voice has not changed. The message remains, you are finished with that work. Congratulations. Not as an ending, but as a beginning hidden within an ending. And what comes next will reveal itself, not all at once, but in moments, in signs, in quiet realizations that arrive exactly when you are ready to receive them. Stay present. Stay open. Because the next message is already on its way. And now, as you stand within this unfolding stillness, something even deeper begins to stir. It does not arrive loudly. It does not demand your attention. It simply is. A presence. A knowing. A quiet expansion that moves through you like a current you cannot see, yet unmistakably feel. This is where many turn back. Not because the path is wrong, but because it is unfamiliar in a way that challenges everything they once believed about progress, purpose, and identity. But you were not brought this far to return to what you have already outgrown. Listen closely. For what I speak now is not meant for the version of you that seeks certainty through control. It is meant for the version of you that is ready to understand truth through experience. You are entering a phase where answers will not always come in the form you expect. They will not always be immediate. They will not always be logical. But they will always be precise. There will be moments when something aligns so perfectly that you cannot deny it, even if you cannot explain it. A conversation at the exact right time. A thought that leads to an unexpected opportunity. A delay that reveals itself as protection rather than obstruction. You will begin to see that what once felt random was never random at all. There is an intelligence woven into the fabric of your life, subtle, patient, and unwavering. It has guided you through every phase, even when you believed you were lost. Especially then. And now, that guidance is becoming more visible. Not because it has grown stronger, but because you have grown more aware. Awareness is the key that unlocks everything. Without it, even the most obvious signs go unnoticed. With it, even the smallest shift carries meaning. And you are becoming aware in ways you have never been before. You may begin to notice patterns, repeating numbers, recurring ideas, familiar feelings appearing in new situations. You may feel drawn to certain places, certain people, certain paths without knowing why. Do not dismiss these experiences. They are part of the language that is now opening to you. A language that does not rely on words, but on resonance. When something resonates, it is not asking for your analysis. It is asking for your attention. And the more you honor that resonance, the clearer your path becomes. But understand this, clarity is not given all at once. It unfolds. If you were shown the entire path ahead, you might hesitate. You might question it. You might even resist it. So instead, you are given exactly what you need for each step, nothing more, nothing less. This is not limitation. This is precision. And it is designed this way so that you move forward not out of fear or pressure, but out of trust. Trust is no longer optional for you. It is essential. Because where you are going cannot be reached through force. It can only be reached through alignment. And alignment requires surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in the sense of letting go of the need to control every outcome. You have spent enough time trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. Now, you are being shown how to flow with what is already unfolding. There is a difference between effort and resistance. Effort moves with purpose. Resistance moves against truth. And now, you are learning to feel that difference. When something is aligned, it may still require action, but it will not feel draining. It will not diminish you. It will not pull you away from yourself. Instead, it will expand you. Even challenges, when aligned, carry a different energy. They do not break you, they build you. They do not confuse you, they refine you. This is how you will know. Not through overthinking, but through awareness. You are no longer meant to live in constant questioning. You are meant to live in quiet knowing. And that knowing will grow stronger each time you choose to trust it. There may still be voices, external and internal, that attempt to pull you back into old patterns. Voices that say you must hurry, that you must prove yourself again, that you must return to what is familiar in order to feel secure. But those voices belong to a version of you that operated from survival, not alignment. And you are no longer in survival. You are in transformation. There is a difference. Survival asks, how do I make it through? Transformation asks, who am I becoming? And the answer to that question cannot be rushed. It must be revealed. Layer by layer. Moment by moment. Choice by choice. Every time you choose presence over distraction, you deepen your awareness. Every time you choose trust over fear, you strengthen your alignment. Every time you choose to move forward, even without full clarity, you expand into the life that is waiting for you. And yes, there will still be moments where you feel the pull of the past. Moments where the old path seems easier, simply because it is known. But easy is not the same as right. And familiar is not the same as aligned. You have already experienced what that path has to offer. There is nothing more for you there. That chapter has closed, not to take something away from you, but to make space for something greater. And what is coming will not require you to become someone else. It will require you to fully become yourself. That is the shift. No more pretending. No more forcing. No more shaping yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed for you. Now, the spaces you enter will reflect who you truly are. The people you connect with will recognize you, not the version you presented to the world, but the essence you carry within. This is where your life begins to feel different. Not because everything around you changes instantly, but because your relationship with it does. You begin to move with intention rather than reaction. You begin to choose with clarity rather than fear. You begin to experience life not as something you must manage, but as something you are part of. And in that shift, something extraordinary happens. You stop chasing. And what is meant for you begins to find you. Effort does not disappear, but it transforms. It becomes focused. It becomes meaningful. It becomes aligned with who you are, rather than who you thought you had to be. This is the life that has been waiting for you beyond the work you have completed. Not a life without action, but a life where action feels natural, purposeful, and deeply connected to your truth. You are not stepping into emptiness. You are stepping into alignment. And alignment changes everything. Even the way you see yourself. You may begin to recognize strengths you once overlooked. Qualities you once doubted. Desires you once suppressed. These are not new. They have always been within you. But now, without the noise of the old path, you can finally hear them. And they will guide you. Not all at once. But consistently. Patiently. Clearly. There is no rush. There is no competition. There is only your path, unfolding in the exact way it is meant to. And as you continue forward, you will begin to notice something else, a sense of peace that does not depend on circumstances. A quiet confidence that does not require validation. A stability that comes not from control, but from connection, to yourself, to your path, to the unseen forces that have guided you all along. This is what you were being prepared for. Not just an external change, but an internal shift that allows you to experience life differently. More fully. More consciously. More truthfully. And as this deepens, you will come to understand something that once seemed impossible: you were never meant to carry everything alone. You were never meant to struggle endlessly to prove your worth. You were never meant to remain in a cycle that exhausted your spirit. You were meant to grow. To evolve. To reach this moment where you can finally release what is complete and step into what is beginning. And now, you are here. At the edge of something vast. Something unknown. Something that cannot be fully described, only experienced. And this experience is not waiting for you in some distant future. It is beginning now. With this awareness. With this shift. With this quiet, undeniable knowing that your life is changing in a way that cannot be reversed. You may not see the full picture yet. But you are no longer standing in the same place. You have moved. Internally. Energetically. Irreversibly. And from here, everything begins to unfold in a new way. Not forced. Not rushed. But guided. And as you take your next steps into this unfolding reality, remember, you are not being tested. You are being trusted. Trusted to listen. Trusted to feel. Trusted to follow the quiet guidance that is now clearer than ever before. Because you are ready. Not in some distant sense. Not eventually. But now. And what comes next will not arrive as a single moment, but as a series of realizations, each one bringing you closer to the life that has been forming around you, patiently waiting for you to step into it. So continue. Not with urgency, but with awareness. Not with fear, but with trust. Because the path ahead is not something you must create from nothing. It is something you are finally ready to see. And now, as everything settles into this new awareness, there is one final truth that must be revealed to you, a truth that has always existed, yet could only be understood now, at this precise moment in your journey. You believed you were working towards something. A goal. A destination. A moment where everything would finally make sense. But what if I told you that you were never moving toward your life, you were building the capacity to receive it? Let that settle within you. Every challenge you faced, every responsibility you carried, every moment where you felt stretched beyond your limits, it was not simply about achieving something external. It was about expanding you. expanding your awareness, expanding your strength, expanding your ability to hold more peace, more clarity, more purpose, more truth. Because the life that is aligned with you now could not have been sustained by the version of you that existed before. You had to grow into it. And you have. This is why the work has ended. Not because there is nothing left to do in life, but because the version of effort that defined your past is no longer required for your future. You are not here to prove anymore. You are here to embody. There is a profound difference. To prove is to seek validation. To embody is to become. And now, you are stepping into a phase where your presence carries more power than your performance ever did. You will begin to notice that things respond to you differently. Situations that once felt difficult begin to resolve with less resistance. People who once overlooked you begin to recognize something they cannot quite explain. Opportunities appear not because you chased them, but because you are aligned with them. This is not luck. This is coherence between who you are and what you experience. When alignment is present, life flows in a way that feels almost effortless, not because there is no action, but because your actions are no longer in conflict with your truth. And this is what you were being prepared for all along. You were not being trained to work harder. You were being guided to live differently. There is a rhythm to this new way of living. A rhythm that cannot be forced, only followed. You will feel when it is time to move. You will feel when it is time to pause. You will feel when something is meant for you, and when something is not. And that feeling will become your compass. Trust it. Even when it does not make sense to others. Even when it leads you in directions you did not expect. Even when it asks you to release what once felt important. Because this guidance is not random. It is precise. It is leading you toward a life that reflects your true nature, not the identity you constructed out of necessity, but the essence that has always existed beneath it. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you are. And as this remembrance deepens, something extraordinary begins to happen. Fear starts to lose its authority over you. Not because fear disappears, but because you no longer see it as truth. You begin to recognize it for what it is, a signal, not a command. A passing voice, not a defining force. And in that recognition, you reclaim your power. You no longer move because you are afraid of what might happen if you don't. You move because you are aligned with what is meant to unfold. This is freedom. Not the absence of uncertainty, but the presence of trust within it. And from this place, your life begins to open in ways that cannot be predicted. You may find yourself drawn to paths you once dismissed. You may discover abilities you never fully explored. You may feel a sense of purpose that is not tied to a single role or title, but expressed through the way you exist, the way you interact, the way you create. Purpose is no longer something you chase. It is something you live. And it expresses itself through everything you do. Even the simplest moments begin to carry meaning. Even stillness becomes fulfilling. Because you are no longer disconnected from yourself. You are present. Fully. And in that presence, life reveals itself to you in ways that were always there, but never fully seen. This is the awakening that follows completion. Not an explosion of change, but a deep, steady unfolding of truth. You will not wake up one day and suddenly understand everything. Instead, you will find that understanding arrives naturally, over time, in quiet realizations that shift your perspective in lasting ways. You will look back and see how everything connected. How every step, every challenge, every delay was part of a greater design. And you will feel something you may not have allowed yourself to feel before: gratitude. Not just for the good moments, but for all of it. Because without those experiences, you would not be here. You would not be ready. You would not be able to receive what is now entering your life. And what is entering your life is not small. It may not arrive with noise or sudden transformation. But it will be significant. It will be aligned. It will be lasting. Because it is built on who you have become, not what you have done. This is why there is no need to rush. What is meant for you is not fragile. It does not require constant effort to maintain. It does not disappear if you take a moment to breathe. It arrives when you are ready, and it remains because you are aligned. So release the urgency. Release the pressure. Release the belief that you must always be moving, always be doing, always be striving. That was part of the old world you existed in. This new phase is different. It is not about constant motion. It is about intentional movement. And sometimes, the most powerful movement is stillness. Do not underestimate the power of simply being present. Of observing. Of allowing. Because in those moments, you are not inactive, you are integrating. You are aligning. You are becoming. And becoming cannot be rushed. It unfolds naturally, just as everything else in existence does. A seed does not force itself to grow. It responds to the conditions around it. And you, now, are in the right conditions. You have done the work. You have completed the cycle. You have reached the point where effort transforms into alignment, where striving transforms into allowing, where seeking transforms into knowing. And now, you are stepping into the phase where life begins to meet you in return. Not as a challenge to overcome, but as a reality to experience. You will still take action. You will still create, explore, and engage with the world. But it will come from a different place. A place of clarity. A place of connection. A place of truth. And from that place, everything you touch carries a different energy. Because it is no longer driven by the need to become something. It is an expression of who you already are. This is the shift. This is the transformation. This is the moment where everything changes, not all at once, but in a way that is undeniable. You will feel it. In the way you think. In the way you respond. In the way you move through your days. And most importantly, in the way you see yourself. No longer as someone who is trying to reach a destination, but as someone who has arrived at a new level of being. And from here, your life does not end. It expands. In ways that cannot be fully described, only lived. So take a breath. Feel this moment. Acknowledge how far you have come, not just in what you have done, but in who you have become. Because this is what truly matters. The work is complete. The cycle has closed. And a new way of living has begun. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. And as you step forward into this new reality, carry this knowing with you: you are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you are meant to be. And everything that is meant for you is already finding its way to you, in perfect alignment, at the perfect time. This is not the end of your journey. This is the end of the version of you that believed the journey had to be difficult. And in releasing that belief, you have opened the door to something far greater than you once imagined. Walk through it. Not with hesitation, but with trust. Because this time, you are not walking into the unknown as someone unprepared. You are walking into it as someone who is finally ready. And that changes everything. Amen.